United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.
I'm fucking.
Are you though? Are you
I'm
though?
furious. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Noelle and I I'm not even gonna exaggerate here. We were almost fucking done with the episode, and then all of a sudden, all the audio crashed, and we got none of it. So this is part fucking 2 when we're really over it.
It's true. I will try to have some of my same gusto that I did.
I'm not.
Oh,
you want to know what? You want to know what really kills me? When you went to go get your fucking food from DoorDash in the middle of the episode. Yeah. And you were like, what did you talk about? And I said I was talking about Britney Spears. That was a fucking lie. Everything I talked about, gone forever. Now no one gets to know.
It's so hey, what's up?
Are you gonna reuse your same intro?
Yeah, I'm going to try to. I mean, it's going to be a little off the cuff, I have the memory of a fucking goldfish, but you'll get the essence of what my original intro was.
Let's hear it.
Hey, what's up? My name is Noelle, and for the second time today, with my entire chest, I would like to say, first of all, free Britney, and second of all, Jamie Lynn Spears, you crusty little Caucasian cunt, I'm coming for you and your fucking ponytail. I'm going to wrap my hand around it, pull you in tight, and just not stop punching until I taste blood. Your blood on my tongue.
I like it. It still has enough of the fury.
Yeah.
Because we had a really good discussion about freeing Britney, how misaligned she was in the media.
Yeah, we'll low key. We'll talk about it a little bit, but tell us who you are. As I die.
Yeah, so here's mine, which was real good. Hi, I'm Chelsy, and I am sin in cosine because we about to go off on a tangent.
It's true, and we're gonna go on multiple tangents. Not only because this will be my second time listening to the episode, but also because I'm going to take this time to tangent back to an important tangent we originally recorded that is no longer here. The OG tangent about Miss Britney Spears. I sent Chelsy a TikTok in the middle of the night, as usual, containing just a snippet of audio from Britney's court hearing. And I also, what we didn't talk about in the original recording of this episode was that she has specifically said on record now that she wants people to be talking and she wants people to hear her side of the story. Because I think before, even after like the Britney documentary came out shortly after we did our episode, #thanks for copying our homework, people were like, is this our place to talk? Are we just exploiting her again, like the people were here to, put on trial? And I think that was fair discourse to have. It was like she hasn't said anything, so what are we supposed to do? And she has like officially come out and said, no, I want this to be public and open record. I want people to be able to read what has happened to me. I want to talk about it. I want to be forthcoming. The last 2 years, I have been lying because I have been fucking traumatized, and I want my truth to be heard so that the state of California can no longer refute what I have to say. Like, they have the proof, the documentation. They're going to have my words printed, and if they don't do anything about what's happened to me, like, that's on them. What more can I do? Right. And I encourage everyone to listen to her statement. It's heartbreaking. It truly. She wrote the statement out, and you can hear kind of like her nerves as
Mhm.
she's speaking it. Like, you know, when you get that rush of adrenaline when
Yeah.
you're talking and you almost are out of breath, even though you're just talking. You kind of like hear that in moments of it. And then you hear her like truly get a little angry in some portions. And I don't know, it was just I can't say this enough that everything that we thought was going on, it is. That's true, and it's worse than we could have ever imagined.
Oh, the most
And
heartbreaking thing for me was when she was saying that they wouldn't let her see her regular therapist in her home anymore. They sent her off to some rehab so that the paparazzi could get photos of her.
yeah,
And she's like, "I didn't know
specifically,
this guy. Like, I didn't wanna
yeah,
fucking go talk to him. I wanted my psychiatrist." And they
yeah,
wouldn't let her have him.
yeah. And they did that with intention, as we learn and come to find out that they wanted her to be photographed in these unfavorable situations. They wanted tabloids to pick up these pictures and these stories and paint her in this horrific light so that her dad could then use that as proof and ammunition for the conservatorship. And she brings it up, and it's truly like she she talks about how um she specifically says this about Miley Cyrus being able to smoke a blunt on the VMA stage, but you know, she was photographed, you know, years ago with a drink in her hand and her kid on her lap, and she's a fucking bad guy, but Miley's just you know, a baddie. And I am assuming people who are on TikTok probably saw the same, like Backstreet Boys in sync dance reunion, and that made me like a little that made me a little sick to my stomach because they could be out here looking cute and having fun, and meanwhile, like the queen, the Madonna of that generation of pop music, is a prisoner in her own life. And I don't know, it was heartbreaking to hear that, just hear her speak finally about how you know, she's every aspect of her life is controlled by someone else, by her father and her quote unquote team. They control everything she does, she wears, she says, she can do, and what she can see, and how she can spend her money. And most importantly, to call out is, you know, they control what is done to her body, and that means the medication she's on. Like, she's on lithium, and I don't think she should be, and she doesn't think so either. And um, they have forced her to get an IUD, and she wants to get that removed so she could have children with her boyfriend, and they said no. And it's just wild.
Yeah,
It is
absolutely. You compared it
wild.
to essentially sex trafficking. Like,
Yeah,
she is
yeah.
her body is a vessel of making the men who control her money.
Yeah, well, she even she talked about that, how the only thing you could compare her life to is sex trafficking, because she was forced to work 7 days a week, no breaks, no vacations. She had her like cell phone, internet, every money, everything taken from her, which is the same thing that would happen to someone who is being trafficked. You take everything away from them and leave them resourceless, and force them to work against their will. And it's I don't know. I always knew the situation was heartbreaking. I learning, you know, from the source, the details of it, it's even worse than you can imagine. They were using her children, you know, like, if you want to see your kids, you have to do this, that, and this. And she brought up an experience where she had like a 102-degree fever and was still forced to perform. And she thought, really was like in fear for her life on the stage. And someone actually found a cell phone clip of that where she's in the middle of a show and is like, "I'm so sorry, you guys. It's so hot up here. I'm so hot. I just don't. I have a fever. I have like a 102-degree fever, and I'm just burning up on here. And anyway, are you guys ready to have some fun?" And you're just like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
And I don't think she brought it up, but it would be interesting to kind of look at like how can I say this without validating where there isn't any? Were the conspiracy theorists a little right? Was she
Yes, we
actually,
were.
you know what I
Yes,
mean?
we
Like
were.
when they were like, if you're in trouble, wear yellow in your next video. And then she would, it's
Or
because
there would
she
even be
says,
issues of her posting like just general photos from Google, like a tomato plant. And it would be like
yeah,
the first thing it would come up in tomato plant. And it was just like, even if it wasn't, it was just wasn't the bigger picture. It was just her doing whatever, like, fuck you, I can't post what I want, that I'll just post bullshit. Here's a tomato plant.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's because she didn't really like address that. She said that she had been like lying and keeping quiet for 2 years because she was trying to convince herself that she was happy and everything was okay. And she, at the end of the day, was just being abused and traumatized. And she feels like she finally has the strength to come forward about it. But it makes you kind of, I don't know, it makes you kind of wonder about everything everyone was kind of putting together online. It's like, was she really like reaching out? I don't know. We'll see what happens. If um if her conservatorship continues, I just I don't even
Then we storm Hollywood at dawn.
yeah, like what there was just absolutely no faith in the system. And we talked about this a little bit on the original recording of this episode. But you know, these tabloids who helped perpetuate the narrative that ended up getting her this conservatorship in the first place, I feel like it's their responsibility now to make sure that they help undo the harm that was done to her, not just by posting a free Britney, hashtag in her picture, by saying, these were the articles we posted and the pictures that we shared on these dates, and we are here to say this was wrong. This was incorrect information. We want to fully redact all those statements, and we are here and like to speak on her behalf for her testimony and validation. Like they should be doing that, not just trying to jump on the bandwagon that they helped fucking derail her in the first place. And I think if I'm not sure what the whole judge situation is, because her whole thing of coming out and speaking is because her representative is obviously hired by her dad, so it's someone who does not have her best interest in mind. That her attorney tried to say, we need to seal these records and not talk about this because we need to abide by people's privacy, and there are minors in this, her children are minors, individual minors, and we need to protect their privacy as well. And trying to really skew all this shit. And then Brittany's like, no, we're going to keep this open so that people can hear what happened.
Dude, and also, what a fucking queen for it.
Yeah. Well, you're literally seeing as clear as day that the people even quote unquote hired to defend her and protect her are just these pawns. It's fucking cinematic, dude. That's why it's so hard for my brain to grasp that it's reality, because it feels almost cinematic. It is
She's like Rosemary's Baby.
right?
They're like, eat the meat, Brittany. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, is it cooked though? And they're like, doesn't matter, just swallow it.
Yeah, literally, it is true, cinematic horror. You're like, there's no way. That's delusional thinking to think everyone around you is a pawn in the grand scheme of scheming you. And it's like, no, they all are. Every single person, from the team of people who are in her house, living with her, monitoring her 24/7, including watching her get fucking changed, to the cook, to the personal trainer, to her attorney, to her psychiatrist, to her doctor. They're all paid for and handpicked by her father in order to keep her fucking locked away, over medicated and silenced. It's truly fucking disgusting. And I think that's why my brain has such a hard time wrapping around it, because like, no, it really is that bad. Nope, it
Yeah.
really is. It is a Stephen King version of reality. It is
It
fucking
can happen to
horrible.
Brittany. It can happen to any of us too. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about it on the original recording. We're one bad haircut away. Like,
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, dude. It is just, it is unfortunate. It is unfucking fortunate. The fact that she is currently right now, quote unquote, diagnosed with dementia. And that's why there's a full conservatorship over her entire life, every
is
single thing.
inaccurate.
The fact that that didn't put up a red flag anywhere, that's no one's job to look into and verify that that's, you know what I mean? Like, we have this pop culture icon, this, like, millionaire woman, and we're just like, yeah, nope, her dad said she has dementia at 30. You know what? Like, there was no one's job to look into that.
Yeah,
it's
she's surrounded by staff who's supposed to be like ensuring her mental and physical well-being, and all of a sudden dementia creeps up.
Yeah.
She's a
Yeah.
modern day Rapunzel, man.
It's true. No, it's true. So, yeah, I free Britney, like, for real. Like, it's disgusting that we, as fans and consumers and beneficiaries of what she did to music and pop culture, that we allowed it to go on this long. I think that's like, truly, some of the burden needs to be on us and should be resolved by us by our constant advocacy for the end of her conservatorship. Don't let her testimony go unheard. I think that's the biggest thing. It's what she said in her deposition, is that she wanted people to hear what happened to her, and we should listen. For the first time, listen to every word that she says.
Yep. And
so
share
yeah.
it. Make everybody hear it.
Yeah, make everyone hear it. Truly, it should be a nonstop topic until her conservatorship ends and she can finally live her life as a free fucking woman, which is disgusting to even think about and say out loud, but it's true. So, free Britney.
Free Britney, and here's a segue, already been used once, but hopefully everyone involved in her conservatorship dies.
Yes.
Hey, Noelle.
Yes. Yes.
Speaking of
Hi.
death,
Hello.
hello. This one got away from me today. Woo!
This is totally authentic and genuine conversation.
100%.
Also, before we talk about death, I just want to get on another tangent real quick.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, don't mind me. I forgot to bring over my water, so I am going to die this whole episode, since this is now our second take of doing this. Anyway, my DoorDasher replied to the dropping off of my food and just said done. And
That's it.
I don't like that.
Why?
I don't like that.
Gets to the point.
No, it almost feels like that's almost like the type of text that I would get from like my high school boyfriend after we were like back and forth fighting on our Motorola Razors, and I just get done. You know what I mean?
Who the fuck are you? You're going full Karen? Are you gonna go Karen on this poor person? Maybe they're driving and that's all they can do before a cop sees them. Maybe they were gonna be like, "Oh, dearest Noelle, I love your bleach bangs. God bless you the most for ordering food from me." And they send you a done.
No.
Look at the intention behind the words. If Brittany taught us anything, it's look at the intention behind the words.
I hate you for trying to use her against me like that. All I'm saying is that, maybe be just like dropped off. You don't even have to say thank you. You don't even have to say bye, but say something more than done. I don't.
Is done just not the working man's version of dropped off?
No. I'm just gonna randomly just send you a done out of nowhere. Just watch how jarring it is. Watch how jarred you become.
Just you saying it, I was jarred.
Yeah, you fucking bitch. It's rude. It's rude as hell.
And then I'll reply with dropped off, and then you'll feel better, and I'll still be suffering inside.
Yeah.
So
as anyway.
usual, the Grim Reaper, bam, 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 got away from me a little bit. Try to stick with me, Noelle. Keep me on track.
Trying. Here we go.
Let's do this. For the part Pat Dieu.
Yep. That's exactly it. Part deux.
And it's so hard to feel authentic because we type out the scripts of the episode.
I mean, yeah, it's just regurgitated material after regurgitated material, but isn't that just life in general? Nothing is original, nothing is authentic.
It isn't. This is just a research bundled into a little pile of sticks, Blair Witch style. And let the horror fucking begin. The Grim Reaper is probably the most popular personification of death in Western existence, nay, the world, Noelle.
Nay.
Wielding a scythe, which represents his harvesting of souls, and a cloak which hides the skeletal remains. This is an image that you don't have to have too much creativity to conjure up because it's so prevalent in pop culture.
3 things. First of all, the scythe representing the harvesting of souls. I don't mean to sound legally blonde here.
What an authentic thought, Noelle. You just totally brought up for the first time.
I know you've never heard this before. But
Jesus.
But in full actuality, in full authentic truth, today, you don't know if this right now is the first time I've thought this, but today as a summary whole was the first time I was today years old when I realized the scythe was for harvesting of souls.
The harvester of souls would use farmer tools. Yeah, it's real cute.
You know what? It is cute, and I didn't realize it as a practitioner of the macabre. I never put that together.
The poor man's macabre.
As the practitioner of the macabre, it's the first. I hate to say it, but also everyone go check out the movie Carnival of Souls.
Jesus
actually filmed here. Horror movie filmed here, black and white, filmed at the good old Saltaire. Check it out, Carnival of Souls. Anyway, or
if you're bored, Google farm practices and watch a YouTube video. Jesus.
So anyway,
tears coming out of my eyes. Oh,
that's usually where they come from.
Yep. Anyway, world religions have many different ideas of a person who controls death. From Hades in Greek mythology to one of the 4 horsemen in Christian beliefs, like death riding on a pale horse. But lesser spoken about is Anku, who is the servant of death who comes from Breton myths in the 3rd century. And Breton is really just kind of like a conjunction of British areas like Wales.
When you just say Europe, wait, if we say Europe, does that mean Breton or is it specifically like Britain?
Specifically Breton, like Britain 3rd century.
Okay.
And then preceding all other worldly mentions of the Grim Reaper, Anku appears as a man with a scythe, generally clothed in black robes. And there are many different myths regarding Anku, from him being the first child of Adam and Eve to the first man who dies in any new year. So kind of a new Anku every year, depending on whoever rolls the dice and dies first.
Or falls off of the roof during Christmas.
Or is an authentic thought of Noelle has of Tim Allen in the Santa Claus.
Oh my god, it sucks that you guys won't get to hear the authentic version of my brain. My two brain cells smashing into each other and for whatever reason thinking like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus. You won't get to hear the authentic version of that, but do know that the thought did happen and do know
Jesus.
that it was real.
You know what we are? We're the Tenacious D song right now. We're just tribute. Like we had recorded the greatest podcast in the world, but we can't remember it. So now we're just the tribute.
It's true. Damn, I want to rewatch Tenacious D.
Also, just keep watching fucking Craig and make sure that he's like minding his P's and Q's.
I haven't stopped watching him, dude. I'm watching like a hawk.
And so the final thing, kind of the final mythology that surrounds Anku is that he was a man who lost a challenge to the OG, capital D death, and was later cursed to roam the earth as a monster for the rest of eternity. And that monster is what we lovingly know as the Grim Reaper.
Santa Claus.
Yes, or Santa. And when the bubonic plague hit, it was quickly dubbed the Black Death because of the color of the infection and the skin's necrosis when people slowly died.
Okay. Totally original thought that you've never heard before.
Waiting for it.
Totally original.
Yeah.
I actually also shout out that we didn't do first time. This is truly original. The last podcast on the left is doing a Black Plague series right now, or bubonic plague series, whatever. And it is, as always, the most informative and interesting shit in the entire world. And because of that, that's why /how I learned that so I thought it was called the Black Death or Black Plague or bubonic plague, whatever, because people were just like throwing bodies out in the street and shit because everyone was dying all the time nonstop and they were like rotting. Right. You know, like a body will get puffy and shit. And like, that is true, but that's not why it was called that. It was called that because you could be alive and your arm would turn black and fall off.
Yep. And now, Noelle, what I have to respond with, also a completely original thought.
Never heard it.
Speaking of necrotic tissue.
Yes.
I saw a video in one of my popping channels. Sorry, that I like to watch. I've been drinking to cope. And this guy had like an infected tattoo, and the skin itself didn't look infected, right? Like there was maybe a pimple that looked like it had scabbed slightly.
Okay, quick question. We didn't really like clarify this too much in the original. So was it like okay? Do you remember what the tattoo was of?
No, I imagine it was really shitty.
Okay,
probably. It was a real scratcher tattoo.
It was okay. It's on a back? It's on a back.
Yeah, it was on a back. You know when you see a tattoo that's you know when you see a tattoo that's real chewed up and there are scabs on it?
I mean, I don't see them often, but I understand the
right.
It was like outline. It was
it was like a full-on shitty back tattoo. I'll see if I can find it. But the creme de la creme is the necrotic tissue that was being pulled out of this guy's back by a pair of.
What was it?
I'm glad you asked. How did you know that it wasn't? This wasn't being done by a doctor? By toenail clippers, Noelle.
Wait, okay. Another thing. So we know a man's scratcher back tattoo looks like it has a scabbed pimple on the back, and someone, not a medical professional, some might say, the least qualified person in the room, walks up with toenail clippers and says, "Would you mind if I performed a little amateur surgery on your back?"
Came scuttling in. Let me actually, I found the video.
Oh, good. Could you describe what the room looks like that they're in?
I could describe it, Noelle, but why not just show you?
Oh, you bitch. No! It's called.
So what we're seeing here is a tattoo, right?
The gruesome video that first brought me into our /popping.
Yeah. And what you first see is like what looks like a bunch of wadded up toilet paper just smeared on someone's arm. You know, like the toilet paper gets like a consistency when you pull it.
You fucking bitch. Okay, first of all, first the fuck of all, you this is what I needed. This is what I needed. It looks almost like a sunburn. It looks like
Almost.
a swollen man's back with a shitty.
But it doesn't look like an infection, right?
Yes,
it looks.
bitch. Yes, it does. I would look at that immediately and go, "Oh, we're about to see a man."
When they pull the necrotic fucking tissue out with the toenail clippers, it looks like an infection. But when looking at the actual infected tattoo, it just looks a little red, like a sunburn with like an open pimple on it.
I mean, yes, it does, but it's like swollen. It's clearly like swollen and red like a sunburn because of an infection. Also, the fact that they're collecting like the
on his arm, they're pulling the necrotic tissue out and just smearing it on his arm. Yeah.
Oh, Satan help me. Oh my god. The toenail clippers are out and we are oh shit. It's hard like a twig. It's like oh no, girl. What?
Yeah.
Why?
Jump to like 434 because they're still.
Oh my god.
You got it.
I'm gonna pass out.
Noelle, you got it. You got to jump to 435. Jump to 435, Noelle. Jump to 435. Tell me when you're there.
I'm at 4. Oh my god. It's a thick word. Oh my god.
Did you jump to 435?
No.
I need you to jump to 4. So what happens at 435 is they pull a wad of infected tissue out and fucking Old Faithful explodes out of the sky's back.
Oh my god, dude, I literally gagged. My eyes are watering right now. I literally
Yeah. Anyway, I googled it. This guy actually died. God. So don't laugh too hard.
He deserves it after what has happened. Chelsy, I'm not kidding. I gagged.
Dude, I watch that at least like twice a week.
Oh my god!
That's like necrotic tissue, man. That's the Black Death. Aren't you? Yeah. Anyway, people's skin would go black and they would die, and then funeral practices would push people towards wearing black while they were in mourning, and eventually these guys ended with the concept of death itself.
I follow crime scene cleanup. I watch like human dissection, and that is the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh my god, it's sick. It's sick. I literally can't, dude.
No, stop laughing. We already said he died. I googled it.
I don't care. That was horrible.
God rest his soul. Terrible. Go to the hospital. Don't pull out infections with toenail clippers.
Oh my god. I literally, dude, I fucking maybe it's because I just ate. I don't know. You know what it was? It was watching them pull the fucking like decay skin from the hole and watching them place it on his arm like for display, like how they do with the blackhead videos and the gloves. But this was toenail clippers and fucking rot. Human fucking rot, and it was that. It was the cunnilingus that leading to the orgasm, which was a full display of rotting human sewage.
Yeah,
pooling out of him. Oh my god, it got me. That got me. That got me.
You got it. You got. Oh yeah, and then like the crater that's just in his back.
I literally, dude, all tea. Fucking, I almost had a moment.
That honestly, that video does nothing to me other than just like the excitement. Yeah, that's a good one.
Also, that's some dark. 244 votes, 67 comments so far. Like no one's seeing that. Jesus,
I see it. And I go to it every day. I found that shit in seconds.
I bet you did. Anyway,
exactly what to look for. Anyway,
back to this.
So the Grim Reaper is indeed something that we rarely really look at when it comes to pop culture. He's always there, is instantly recognizable, and if you ask someone what it is, you'll probably always get the generic answer of a closed skeleton who carries a scythe and comes to get people when it's their time to die. You can't run from him, and we all meet him in the end. And while that's fun to think about, it's really not authentic when we kind of diminish a concept as big as the Grim Reaper is just something as a visualization of pop culture. We cannot dismiss something as powerful as death is just an imaginary personification. We can't do it. We won't fucking do it. We didn't do it on the first recording, and we're not going to do it on the second fucking recording either.
Yep.
So now let's talk David Icke and his fascination with Saturn, both the planet and the person.
Yeah, let's talk about David Icke because I'm so into talking about things that have absolutely nothing to do with each other. That is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Remember the Grim Reaper? Fuck it. Let's not.
I told you I went up. I told you this one got away from me. This is when it starts. I'm like the myth of Sisyphus. I was almost at the top of the fucking hill, and now the boulder's down at the bottom, so we got to start over. And we're starting over with David Icke.
If you want to, hey, Chelsea.
Yeah,
you want to tell the people who the fuck David Icke is? Because if there's anyone listening right now and they go, "Why does that name sound familiar to me?" This is actually a fact or a piece of information you can keep with you forever. If you remember someone's name, it's probably never for a good reason. You can, if you don't put a face to their name and you just remember their name, I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably not for anything good. And that is for sure the truth with our good friend, David Icke. And I would like to, before Chelsea tells us about him a little bit more, I would like to say firmly right now that I am very anti-David Icke. I think that David Icke is a fucking quack, and I think David Icke is the reason why the conspiracy theory community is demonized and damned and made irrelevant and racist and crazy. And I agree with them because David Icke, because of him and the words that fall out of his big fat dumb mouth. I do agree with them on that. So I just want to say right now, before Chelsea says anything else about how she feels about him or anything, that I fully do not support David Icke. I think he's a grade A piece of shit. Okay, anyway, Chelsea, do you want to tell us about David Icke?
Yeah. Now, if I were to Bing.com search David Icke, it would say that he's just a regular English conspiracy theorist. If I were to go more down the lines of Google, the first thing that would pop up was an article saying how David Icke was kicked off of Facebook for his coronavirus claims. And as you may infer from Noelle's rant, we're not really going to go for broke when it comes to defending David Icke. At worst, and this is the worst, he is your typical conspiracy theorist who blames the Jews for everything.
Yeah, a good old-fashioned anti-Semite.
Right. At best, and this is a real straw man at best, because remember, he's a terrible racist. He does have his finger in some of the conspiracy pies that are actually quite interesting. So if we can swallow the shitty, contaminated filth that is David Icke, we might get to some really good pastries.
I mean, no, this is the Hitler thing. Hitler was a vegetarian, but he hated the Jews. Like, it's, they don't cancel each other out.
Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Hitler was a piece of shit. But if you go into the Hitler pie of him talking about, like, concave Earth, then we get to the cool-ass concave Earth shit. Hitler's finger was merely the awful, racist pathway to get to some good pie that is a real cool conspiracy theory that we're actually living in a light bulb.
I'm not going to let you have that, but I'll let us move on.
Thank you. So keep in mind, when we talk about David Icke, he is probably the person who perpetuated the 5G causes coronavirus the most.
Yeah.
So don't think that us talking about him is any support for that. But David Icke and his theories about the Grim Reaper is something that we are going to explore right now.
Okay.
And when I say right now, I mean let's just fill people into David Icke a little bit.
Sure.
He is a 69-year-old Englishman. I'm going to say nice again.
Nice.
Who started out in sports broadcasting. That's kind of fun. And it wasn't until he started to experience chronic pain that he looked into alternative medicine, which of course led to New Age philosophies.
Like Chelsea on PrattDaddy.com looking up new crystals.
I know. I didn't think we were going to bring this up again. But yeah, my chronic pain, the fact that doctors don't take it seriously, despite the fact my jaw is literally dislocated and it shows up on all modern methods of viewing that, such as an MRI. And how I go to Pratt Daddy Crystals to see if there's anything cool that I could get that could align my chakras. Tell me, deal with it.
I mean, I will sidebar tangent cosine.
Hashtag sidebar. Yeah, we're in cosine right now, but
we're in cosine. I found so you remember how Moldavite was a thing because the children online told me about it.
Yeah,
the children online are telling me about another crystal.
Is it the Lemurian seed crystals?
No, it's not the Lemurian seed crystal. That's you trying to get your agenda in here.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Is it something that Pratt Daddy sells?
Probably, honestly, at this point.
What's the name of it?
I forget the name. It begins with a C, and it's almost like yellow or like orangish. I'll look it up and tell you, but it's like...
I'm trying to look on Pratt Daddy right now. My homepage.
So it's like the opposite of Moldavite, whereas like Moldavite almost brings chaos. This stuff is supposed to bring like prosperity. And like the children are like, I was wearing this and then, these great things happen.
Is it citrine? It's not citrine, is it?
No, it's not citrine. No. It's not.
I don't know if I'm going to trust you. I want you to go down this weird crystal path that you're going on, where you hate crystals, but simultaneously like talk crystals, because you almost had me buying Moldavite, bitch, and that could have turned my life into even more chaos. Was it Carnelian?
Carnelian. Yep, that's it.
Found it on the Google. Now I'm going to find it on Pratt Daddy Crystals.
God, I want to know how much he's charging for it. I'm so glad we didn't do Moldavite because the children and the adults listening right now who are hip and cool with it have probably seen that poor fucking bitch on TikTok who got she's like $30 Moldavite earring. Who wants it? And then it was like, bonk, no more dad, boyfriend, house, car. And she just lost all these things.
Yeah. But what we could do is buy this $35 Carnelian bracelet from PrattDaddyCrystals.com.
Oh,
and all
actually,
of our life will be good.
$35 is actually a pretty sweet deal. And is that Heidi Montag posing with it on her forehead?
Uh-huh. Who else would it fucking be?
I mean, true. The future is bright. This crystal will propel you forward, gently helping you confront and heal from the past struggles as you embrace life and passion wherever you find them.
You know what I'm going to do? I've had a little bit to drink. It's in my budget. I'm going to buy one.
Are you really?
Yeah. Should I add two? If you Venmo me, I'll add another one in there and we can save on shipping.
I do not. I do, but I don't. I can't.
All right. I bought it. It will
Did
be
you
here
really?
in 6 to 8 weeks.
Did you? What? What? Are you for real? Are you for real? 6 to 8 weeks?
No, I'm not being for real at all. But I do want to buy it.
Just wait until we get Patreon money and we'll buy it with that.
Why would I wait?
Because
I don't think I ever transferred. First of all, please support us on Patreon. It goes for our livelihood and keeping the podcast going. It also goes to help us buy stuff that will give us prosperity.
Have you sent out the crystals to the 2 people who won the crystals?
No, I didn't. I'm so sorry.
Damn it,
maybe you want to know what? I don't fucking go anywhere, Noelle. We talked about this. I will do my fucking best to go. Yeah, you're right.
Need to go.
Why don't you drive your happy ass down here and we will go the fuck together?
I can't drive my happy ass down there. No, now you have it. Also, patreon.com/go to hell podcast. $1 a month gets you access to all of our shit. We have other options as well, like $5 and $10, but honestly, we this is a community. We don't want finances to get in the way of anything. So you give us what you can afford, but $1 gets you in the fucking door. And we actually had a 2-part series go up recently, which was Chelsea's tarot card reading, my tarot card reading, and then the tarot card reading for the podcast, which was super cool. So check that out. Chelsea just bought the crystal. You stupid bitch! It was $43. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
it was kind of expensive.
Oh my god!
Probably can't afford it, but you know what? I really just want Spencer Pratt to notice me. And if the custom message that I sent to him, which was "Notice me, senpai," hopefully he'll get it. Dude, we got to talk about the fucking Grim Reaper, or we got to talk about David Icke, Roman Explode.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is an ad real quick. So we
Right,
did
yeah, hashtag ad.
Patreon.com/go to hell podcast. Also make sure to follow us on the everything go to hell podcast on Instagram and Twitter. I think that's the username. And I am at Noelle Fain, NOELLEFAEN on everything: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Don't find me on Facebook. That you all are fucking weird if you do. Yeah, that's me. Chelsea, who are you?
I'm Harpy, HARRRPY. And you can find me on Facebook. You're just not going to see anything. You'll see a sick ass photo of me with Jake the Snake as my profile picture. You're welcome.
Is it really just the same Harpy on Twitter? I thought you had to do more R's there, which is why I told you to change it.
No, it's just always been HARRRPY. And the fact that you tell me that my stuff is too hard to find, like I've been looking up different names to change it to, and they're all taken, breaking my heart.
Well, it's time to figure it out because I do think it is a little hard to find. Yeah, Go to Hell podcast on Twitter and Go to Hell podcast on Instagram. Great. So glad I know our information. Okay, anyway.
At the very least, please share and tell your friends.
Yeah.
It takes, I don't know, it takes like a whole week to write an episode. And the fact that we have to record this one twice. Whew!
The fact that we had to record this one twice, and dare I say, it is still just as great as the first time we recorded it. Tell your friends who aren't easily offended. Honestly, I can't deal with any more people. I can't explain my life or my life choices or decisions to any more people. So just like I would say, here's a caveat. Only recommend us to like your cool friends. Like if you've done coke in a public bathroom with this friend, maybe share our shit with them. I don't need anyone else. Like you know what I'm saying here. Like don't show your mom. I'm not interested in that. I don't need that stress in my life. I already have given myself an aneurysm because I found out my mother is on Twitter where I am the most degen. So please, just only your cool friends. If they do substances, then for sure let them listen. But if you have a religious person in your life, maybe don't. I'm just trying to not have that energy in near me.
Oh, let them listen. Share it to the whole world.
Don't share
I
it
invite the discourse. I invite the chaos because Spencer Pratt is protecting me with his magic crystals.
Yeah, that you paid like almost $50 fucking for. Is it really 6 to 8 weeks? Also, here is us being another official sponsor of Pratt Daddy Crystals.
Dude, he will not answer my emails, and I'm like, dude, just please. I'm not even joking here. I
know that you're not joking here, but also, Chelsea, look at this as a timeline situation. When we were in the back and forth emails with Spencer Pratt and Pratt Daddy Crystals was also into the thick of it for our fucking religious shit, like the Bible episode. So if he was just to listen in 5 seconds, he was out. If this was Shark Tank, he was like, I'm out.
Yeah, you're right. He was not buying in.
No. So I think timing wise wasn't a great time for us to reach out to him. But you know what? Fuck him. I'll say that because we also just promoted him for free. So peace and love. Anyway,
go to Pratt Daddy Crystals. Okay. Anyway, fucking David Icke went on a real slippery slope where he tried to treat his chronic pain with crystals. He also sought out a psychic to help him deal with the pain issues.
Of course he did.
Yeah, and instead of telling him how to do that, she instead told him that the spirit world had big fucking plans for him and to be ready to face opposition for it. And let's just not go into David Icke too much further, but he has been in the conspiracy game, kind of spitting some thoughts and theories since the 1980s. And one of the ones, like we mentioned, we're going to go into is the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And specifically, when David Icke mentions the Grim Reaper, he really dives into the planet Saturn and its association with death when it comes to symbolism. In Roman mythology, Saturn was an old man with a sickle and was generally associated with death because of Saturn's rotational time span. That is, it takes it 29 years to really rotate the Earth, rotate it 3 times, and this would account for a full human lifespan. You have the beginning of their life, the middle of their life, and the end of their life. David Icke took this symbolism a bit of a step further when it came to his more New Age beliefs. And part of his theory of thinking doesn't necessarily refer to Saturn so much as a planet, but as a person or the idea of a person. And that's not so crazy because that's entirely what Greek and Roman mythology think of Saturn as. Technically, Saturn/Kronos is the father of Zeus, ate all of his children. Also, Noelle, this part is for you. J.R.R. Tolkien's Eye of fucking Sauron.
Yeah.
Pulled straight from some of the symbolism of Saturn.
We love to see it.
Love to see it. And there are other texts, such as the Zosimos visions, that refer to Saturn as a person in the same vein as Christ. Quoting that they could change
They're
bodies.
both evil.
Yeah, well, they could both change bodies into blood and make the eyes see and make the dead to rise again.
They're both evil.
And when David Icke takes a look at what Saturn once was, or perhaps who Saturn once was, he starts to put 2 and 2 together. And this is really where we kind of get the ball rolling on David Icke's real crazy conspiracy bit. The New Age part of him looks at Saturn as the controller when it comes to astrological breakdowns. And then the conspiracy part of him recognizes that the worship of Saturn has been going all the way back to Sumerian times. So essentially, yes, we're taking astrology and then we're combining it with ancient religions.
Oh, my 2 least favorite things.
Get ready to open
My
wide and
2
swallow it. Swallow it like
No.
the burger you were eating in take 1 of this episode. So
yeah. Oh my god. What a gift. No one has to hear me fucking eat.
Yeah, no one's gonna hear you just chewing and talking.
Oh man.
And this next part is actually not conspiracy. Let's preface this here.
Thank
The
you.
North Pole of Saturn, there is a massive storm going on, and it takes the literal shape of a hexagon. Absolutely not a conspiracy. You can look at it through NASA, which, as we all know, not a space agency, never a straight answer.
Never a straight answer.
The photos are there. It has been documented. There is not a conspiracy, a hexagonal storm on the North Pole of Saturn, which is kind of cool to think. And then when we kind of dive deeper into the associations between Saturn, it's connected to Saturday. And finally, Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. Well, can you see where we are going with this? Hexagon.
I have a feeling. I think you just said 6 3 times.
Hexagon, 6 sides. Saturday, 6th day of the week. Saturn. 666, baby. Let's go even further than that. David Icke 100% picked up on the symbolism and the synchronicity of 666 /
I'm sorry,
evil.
what did you just say?
Synchronicity. Did I say synchronicity?
Yeah, oh my god, thank God. Thank God you just mispronounced it. I thought this was about to be another Crick situation where I was going to lose my goddamn shit.
I just got excited. You robbed me of my excitement to once again point out the fact that I am a human with flaws, and you once again cut down any amount of ego that I managed to do. David Icke. We start over.
Glad. Please.
David Icke picked up on this symbolism and synchronicity and ran with it.
Yeah.
He started to pick out different depictions of Saturn and tied them in with various Illuminati or satanic cults, specifically when it came to the symbolism. And we don't really have to dive into this one too far. When you just look at Saturn from afar, the rings surrounding the planet can kind of look like eyeballs, which is a symbol that has been vastly adopted and attributed to different cults all over the place. We even see it on our fucking money with the eyeball at the top of the pyramid. You get the Eye of Horus, lots of different things there. Celebrities doing the kind of the eye thing. Beyonce looking at you specifically with my good eye too.
Wow.
Lots of different symbolism there. And according to Michael Sarian, author of Astrotheology, we can even attribute a huge aspect of our own language to Saturn worship. Because in ancient times, the name of Saturn was El. That's just capital E, capital L. And that's why when we go through some of the breakdown of our own linguistic structure, we call chosen ones the elite, or of El, the followers of El, the very top of the top, baby. And Saturn giving us the all-seeing eye, David Icke just picked up on what was already existing and started to kind of pull out where it was kind of occurring in pop culture, which was everywhere. There's even a book, an entire book about it called A Key of Destiny, which is a semi-occultist book about numerology and symbols. But they basically state that it is when we look at Saturn and we look at the Grim Reaper, that when we, quote, look at our work from an entirely new viewpoint in the higher realms, end quote, we'll start to get some of this actual higher living, higher manifestation, self-actualization.
Okay.
So where are we going with this?
Yeah, now we're getting into like horoscope girl territory, yeah?
Almost. We're going to dial it back down. Basically, what we kind of want to break down with the whole Saturn thing is how it really represents death, that something definitely sinister is going on when we look at the symbolism of Saturn, and how occultists are using it even to this day. But no, I want to go further than that. We're not talking about occultism today.
Okay, we aren't? That's weird.
No, and what I really want to point out, and what I've been screaming from the fucking rooftops since we began this fucking episode, and I can't believe you haven't picked it out until now, this is all just a really long-winded way of saying that the Grim Reaper is actually an alien from fucking Saturn.
Oh, how disappointing.
I don't know why you're laughing at me. That's amazing.
How disappointing, man.
No, that's fucking cool.
How disappointing. I thought we were going to talk about demons.
No, the Grim Reaper is a tangible, actual thing that fucking exists. It's an alien from our own solar system. Nay, I say aliens from our solar system. So let's just okay. You're not on board yet. Let's get on board. Let's go back to the Black Plague. There are a lot of different accounts from the Black Plague specifically that talk about the Grim Reaper, and I want to isolate this description right here, which says, quote, "What's more is the early depictions of the Grim Reaper in popular works of art depict a spindly creature who may have been mistaken for a skeleton because of its tall and gangly, almost unearthly appearance." That sounds like an alien.
Every dude I've dated.
Well, it sounds like a fucking alien. A tall, gangly thing.
Yeah.
If I were to describe an alien, would it not be like skeletal in nature? Think of any alien you're in pop culture.
I mean, I guess it kind of like depends.
It's a fucking
sometimes when you say alien, I think of the alien found footage in Signs from the birthday party.
Yeah, a fucking tall, skinny ass gray. Put that motherfucker in a cloak and give him a scythe, and you got the Grim Reaper, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, he didn't really look like a gray though in that footage. You know, he looked a little green. But you know, I do. Yeah, I get it.
But you feel you're feeling me here.
Yeah,
and I'm not just pulling this out of my ass.
Like you do everything.
No, I did. No, how dare you? In previous episodes, I will use our old episodes. We've spoken about how alien/UFO sightings really increase when it comes to things like nuclear weaponry.
Yeah, when we're up to no good in the hood.
Yeah, but dare I say, we've got it all wrong.
Oh, do we?
They're not popping up because of the looming threat of nuclear war. Mm-hmm. They're popping up when it just comes to human catastrophe in general. And it just happens to be this century, it's nuclear war. A couple centuries ago, it happened to be the bubonic fucking plague.
Okay, so where were they like 5 months ago?
Dude,
Didn't
how
even
many? We're
see.
about to have disclosure because of how many UFOs have been
Okay.
appearing. How dare
Oh
you,
no,
Noel?
I forget you're saying it's aliens, so UFO sightings. Okay, I thought like
Aliens.
Grim Reaper with the fucking
Aliens.
scythe.
Right. And
Okay.
so, when
Mhm.
we think of, oh, it's coming, I have a burp coming, I'm trying so hard to control
Oh,
it.
Jesus Christ.
When we talk about the Black Plague and causes of it, most of us are going to go to rats. That's what I've always gone to. The
Yeah.
generic filth of the time, things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
But for one thing, rat infestations were not exactly prevalent at that time. And it's not really anything that we can find super documented from bubonic plague texts or from historians who were living in that period. And some of the areas of the Black Plague that were hit the hardest had no contact whatsoever with the ships supposedly carrying these deadly rats. And something that also goes overlooked when it comes to the Black Plague is the massive amount of UFO sightings that would come just before the breakout occurred. And if you don't believe me, look up any medieval art from the time and you will see them infested not with rats, Noel, but with unidentified flying fucking objects. And just before, you can Google it right now if you want medieval UFO art. But before you think I've gone completely
Mhm.
insane,
Yeah.
before you think I've gone insane, it's important to note that there are far more sightings of UFOs during plague or prior to plague outbreaks noted than there ever have been of rat infestations. And I just want to break that down. Historical documents that we have taken from the time mention unexplained phenomena.
Oh, there is like
Or-
floating things in the
yeah.
paintings. Oh, okay,
Right.
that's fun.
And at that time, we see more explanations of UFOs than we ever see any mention of rats. We just don't ever talk about the UFOs. Dare I say it is the flat
No
Earth?
one's painting a fucking rat in their portrait, but if you see a flying fucking disc in the sky, you're gonna for sure pencil that in.
If a rat was the reason of millions of people dying, I'd want to document it.
No, I
Not
wouldn't
just
want
in
to
the
give
paintings, but at
I
least in
don't. I
historical
don't think that
texts.
they fucking even. No, I don't even think that they put the rat to the plague type of thing. They thought that fucking
Well-
soap and water gave them the fucking plague. So I just
Let's-
feel we later on were like it was the rat.
Oh, there it is. Thank God. Anyway, you know what? That's fair. That's a fair point. But let's look at some other historical documents that
Go
talk
ahead.
about UFOs. So actually, let's go 250 years before the Black Plague ever even broke out to something called the Justinian Plague, where ancient historians speak about a comet in the sky, which brought with it
Yeah.
cold, famine, and plague. Let's go even
Oh, it was like
further
a
back.
fucking meteor.
Yeah, let's go even further back to
Uh-huh.
the ninth plague in Egypt, which took place in 536 AD, where a mysterious fog rolled over and caused a full on darkness and caused people to die. And let's just go a little further. I'm going to quote now the author, William Brantley. He wrote something called Gods of Eden, which is a very interesting book about alien interaction throughout history. And let's kind of dive into the Black Plague.
Well, I just want to say here, I have a hard time believing people who like didn't believe in washing their hands. Like I just don't really have any why am I listening to what they have to say? Like they're like, "Oh, a black haze came in and with that came the plague." It's like, "No, you were all coughing into each other's mouths." Like, let's call it like it is.
But you're looking at things too small. Every single time that a plague has popped up and they've documented it in this way, lights in the sky, which they interpreted as meteors, came, darkness happened, hazes went around, and then people started dropping dead.
Well, no, there was like that low key, like volcanic winter back when Mary Shelley wrote fucking Frankenstein. It was
Sure.
the year without a summer because a volcano erupted and it blocked out the fucking sun.
Yeah, but it wasn't preceded by a meteor and then a plague after.
I mean, I'm just.
I mean,
do we
ancient
really-
people knew what volcano eruptions were. They didn't know what UFOs were. Or did they?
Okay. Sure, they did.
From the Gods of Eden, Noel, and I quote, reports relating to the period of the famous Black Plague between 1347 and 1350 speak of strange cigar-shaped objects slowly crossing the sky, sometimes at low altitude, dispersing their passage in disturbing mist. The first outbreak of the plague in Europe followed an unusual series of events. Between 1298 and 1314, 7 large quote-unquote comets were seen over Europe. One was of awe-inspiring blackness 1 year before the first outbreak of the epidemic in Europe. And then a column of fire was reported over Avignon, France. And earlier that year, a ball of fire was observed over Paris. It reportedly remained visible to observers for some time. And to the people of Europe, these sightings were considered omens of the plague which soon followed. And from Vienna, Austria, we get the following description of an event which happened in 1568. Here we see a connection between an outbreak of plague and an object described in a manner remarkable to a similar modern cigar or beam-shaped UFO, which was a fiery beam seen hovering above the Church of St. Stephanie, which was followed by a violent epidemic in Austria, Swabia, Augsburg, Württemberg, Nuremberg, and other places, carrying off human beings and cattle. Sounds like UFOs to me. And
yeah, you got me at cattle.
yes. And when it comes to the succinct image of the Grim Reaper, townsfolk from this time would later report that just before an outbreak, in addition to some of the UFOs that they were seeing, and they didn't call them UFOs, they called them lights in the sky or comets, but they would also see strange figures looming around the town. So again, from Gods of Eden, quote, a second phenomenon was sometimes reported, the appearance of frightening human-like figures dressed in black. Those figures were often seen on the outskirts of a town or a village, and their presence would signal the outbreak of an epidemic almost immediately. A summary written in 1682 tells of one such visit a century earlier. In Brandenburg, Germany, there appeared in 1559 horrible men. The foremost had beside their posteriors little heads, the others fearful faces and long scythes. The visit of the strange men to the oat fields was followed immediately by a severe outbreak of the plague in Brandenburg. This incident raises intriguing questions. Who were the mysterious figures? What were the long scythe-like instruments that they held that emitted a loud swishing sounds? And it appears that the scythes might have been long instruments designed to spray poison or germ-laden gases. This means that the townspeople interpreted the movement of scythes as an attempt to cut oats, when in fact the movements were an act of spraying aerosols around the town. Similar men were reported dressed in black in Hungary. And in the mountain towns of Hungary on Ascension Day, in the evening of the great perturbation or disturbance of all, when the Schulisberg there appeared so many black riders that the opinion was prevalent that the Turks were making a second raid, but who rapidly disappeared again, and thereupon a raging plague broke out in the neighborhood. In the year of Christ 1571 was seen in Krementz. Strange men dressed in black, demons, and other other terrifying figures were observed in other European communities. The frightening creatures were often observed carrying long brooms, scythes, or swords. They're used to sweep or knock at the doors of people's homes. The inhabitants of those homes soon fell ill with the plague afterwards. And it is
These are the same motherfuckers that are like, we didn't pray hard enough, and that's why everyone died and we starved. Like,
we just prayed for rain a week ago. We're the same fucking people. Our governor told people to pray for rain. We are
Don't
no
align
different.
me with that. I have nothing to fucking do with that shit.
Oh my god, get the fuck out of here, Noelle. What is on top of your fridge if not an omen/witchy prayer? You have a witch bottle on top of your fridge that you want to bury in my yard, and you're trying to tell me that you're different than these people who thought that praying would stop the plague? Get the fuck out of here. Yes. One man's prayer is another man's witch box. How dare you?
The way you've come up with 17 different names for it, love that for you.
Sure, thank you. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to be respectful of it. But you can still bury it in my yard, but I want you to acknowledge that what you're doing is really no different than what people at the time were doing, which was praying, which is also what we did last week for rain. And you know what, Noelle? Is it not fucking raining today?
Yeah, today, a week later. It was supposed to be a weekend.
It takes a week.
Prayer. No, it doesn't.
I don't know how it works. I don't know the timeline of things.
Oh, man.
But it is from these sightings of these weird-ass people that we started to see death appearing as a long, gangly, scary person carrying a scythe
as a gray.
with a cloak.
Say what you mean. You know what you
And
say.
yeah, and it's easy to disregard, like Noelle wants to do, what people in olden times would see and how they would interpret it. But
Yeah.
it wasn't an isolated sighting. As we mentioned, these same depictions would come from different towns all over the world from completely different times and completely different cultures.
I'm not
Strange lights in
saying
the
that they
sky.
all didn't like have an experience. I'm just saying maybe we shouldn't like trust the people who were like, that lady's washing her clothes. She must be a witch. Do you know? Like that's what I'm saying.
I'm
like,
not saying that we can't trust their interpretations, but I'm saying we can trust what they fucking saw.
Okay. It's fine.
I mean, what they saw was the Grim Reaper, when we know is strong ass educated people who have our third chakra eye open to see the truth, was that they were
Yeah.
really seeing fucking aliens, Noelle.
Yep. That's
And you know what?
I'm saying.
Let's just go a little bit further.
Oh, here we go. Let's go further. I thought we
Ooh.
weren't far enough. Let's
Not
go.
far. We're about to go elbow deep. Strange lights in the sky. Weird mists moving throughout the town. Ominous people walking around. We have no idea who they are. Sounds like chemtrails and the Men in Black, Noelle.
Jesus.
We're
fucking
still
Christ.
fucking experiencing this. It hasn't gone away. Chemtrails exist. The Men in Black are here. They've been here. They've been here since the fucking bubonic plague, if not further.
No, they have not. No,
They weren't plagued by like fucking rats, Noelle. They're plagued by aliens from Saturn. And it's
Is
been in our
this-
face this entire time.
Is this is this really what David Icke thought, that the fucking Men in Black were around during
No.
the plague?
David Icke was onto something when it came to Saturn, but he was missing the mark. It wasn't that
this is
he
you.
thought
This is you. This is your
so
idea.
this is me. He thought the powerful elite. He thought the powerful elite were worshiping Saturn, and then he was like, "Well, Saturn is 666. The powerful elite are
Yeah.
worshiping the devil." That was the David Icke theory. Here's the truth, Noelle.
The Chelsea theory is
It's
that
not-
the Men in Black were there
No,
during the plague.
no. It's not that the elite are worshiping the devil. They're not worshiping Saturn. The elite, with their boots on our throats, have been working with the aliens the entire fucking time to keep us complacent, sick, and tired, and they've been doing it since the dawn of man. Our own president signed us over to the fucking grays way back in the 50s.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you there. That's about it, though. That's about the only part that I agree with you on.
Well, that's the end of the episode. My last note is plug the Instagram, which we already did. I would like to acknowledge my sources, though.
Please, we got to hear them.
aliensancient.wordpress.com. Shout out. esotericawakening.com. This one's a mouthful. bibbidybloggityboo.wordpress.com
WordPress.
/worship of Saturn, the religion
Whoa.
that everyone unknowingly venerates. And
Wait.
finally,
Wait.
the gods
That
of
was
Eden.
all. That was all still one.
Yeah, bibbidi bloggity boo, like bippity boppity boo, but bliggity blobbity blue. I can't say it more than once. /worship of Saturn, the religion that everyone unknowingly venerates. And then
/WordPress.com/2020 /07/03 /worship
Yeah, I left it out.
/Saturn the religion the everyone unknowingly venerates /.
Yeah,
I'm correct.
you're right. I'm so
Wow.
sorry. bibbidybloggityboo.wordpress.com. I did not include the entire link. And then finally, the Gods of Eden book, of which I found a free PDF online
Sure you
before I
did.
ordered it from Abe
God.
Books. And good shit in there. Everyone should read it. I can't wait
No.
to finish it.
Oh God, was it like 95 pages?
That's a good question. I do believe it was more than 170.
I see you copying your PDF link.
Yeah, copy and paste it. I'm just gonna put this into my browser.
I just really love WordPress.com. Really number one source for absolutely true facts and material.
It's actually 505 pages, and a big chunk of those are his resources. Twitch, if you want to come question me, I will defer to these.
Oh man. You know what? We went on a journey this episode, and none of them were correct.
The most
And
important
for
thing
that, I say,
that I learned, Noelle,
but
and this was from the first recording.
okay.
I didn't fucking know that you're not supposed to stand under a tree during a lightning storm. And that was really Saturn, and I would have been like, obvious. You not knowing that.
What, you know,
I don't think we need to
fill
go
people
into
in.
it. I think
To
that that's just
fill people in. To fill people in. That didn't get brought over from the first time we tried to record this. It was because Chelsea made me watch that fucking saw it and literally almost puked in my mouth. On he died, and I said R.I.P. I also got to watch some people die in a piece of film, and by film I mean of cell phone footage. It actually more later during a lightning storm. And to some of you, that
it's a literal.
No.
The lightning is going to strike the tallest fucking thing it can.
Okay, well, no, the thing is that I'm more thinking about, for some reason, lightning doesn't scare me. Maybe it's because I watched Powder and I'm like, yeah, so what? I get a superpower. Like, it's not the lightning that I have beef with, it's like the rain. And so you're like, I'm going to go hide under trees to be not as rained on because the branches help protect me from that. And what you forget in that moment, for me, speaking only for me right now, and these three people I'm going to tell you about in a second, is you're hiding under the tree to get away from the rain and shit. And then apparently not a great place to be, though, the opposite place you're supposed to be if there's also lightning, because that, as Chelsea decided to mansplain to me, the tree is tall, so it's a higher point for lightning to hit it, and apparently the water inside of the tree is also a conductor for the electricity in the lightning to attract. And
you like to say mansplain in the sense that you were already aware of it, and I was like, Jesus, Noelle, you're gonna fucking die because of these reasons. Yes, I mansplained that to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is why you got electrocuted in the bathtub, because you brought in a power surger and an extension cord, and then you put it in the water. And you were shocked, literally and emotionally, that that's not a good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, also, can I, before I talk about how these people died, which you maybe put together how they did, so like my iPhone is supposed to be water resistant, and can I tell you, I was like, oh, I can't believe it, like my phone's broken after this experience where I got electrocuted. And I was like, oh, it has nothing to do with the water that got on the phone. It's the fact that you electrocuted the water with the extension cord. So anyway,
like you didn't put two and two together that your phone surged to that. Okay.
Yeah. Until it started freaking out. These three, this is how I found out that you're not supposed to stand under a tree during lightning. These three people were standing under a tree, and this looks like I said earlier, it looks like it's a Ring fucking doorbell footage from a neighbor, and they're just hanging out. They're like young, maybe teenagers, and lightning hits this tree. And the two, I'm assuming the couple that were on like one side of the tree, just immediately drop. They just drop like bags of potatoes. Just absolutely boop. Like the string was cut from the marionette and they fell. The other person, who I was like the third wheel, RIP, I thought maybe he survived for a second because he was standing up for a moment. But he gave us the performance of his lifetime because he buckled like ankles, knees, waist, like he just folded almost like a those straws that extend out.
Yeah,
And if
like
you
he
put
just
it back. Yeah, he just crumbled. And anyway, they all died, and that's how I learned that you should not stand under a tree during a lightning storm.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
the more you know.
The science. Uh-huh.
So, speaking of death, I would like to thank my one and only, the only guy who gets me, and by guy I mean non-binary. My number one shouts out to an honest hails Satan. You have nothing to say to that?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something after. I kind of
No,
zoned out.
I said hail Satan. Was it that
Oh.
powerful that I just put you in a trance with my hail Satan?
No, I was filling out my subscription information to Pratt Daddy Crystals now that I've made a purchase.
Jesus Christ! I really can't believe you fucking paid like $50.
I didn't pay for it. You paid for it.
I didn't pay for shit.
Well, your friendship gave me the strength I could. Maybe I'll hold on to it. Maybe I'll have a regret. Maybe I'll go cancel my order once I sober up a little bit. And then you've got egg on your face, Noelle. Instead of talking me through it, you just made fun of me. So you want to know
I'm
buyer's
telling
remorse.
you right now. I'm telling you right now. Spencer Pratt is not going to refund your fucking purchase. I'm telling you that.
You're probably right. So
I've seen their TikToks. They're struggling for money. They're not refunding your $50.
Are they struggling for money? They look like they're living real well. That's probably just the lie that they perpetuate.
Yeah.
Maybe you would make more money, Spencer, if you would answer my emails.
Oh man. Okay, what's your who are you hailing? Are you hailing Spencer fucking Pratt?
No, I'm just saying hail buyer's remorse. And I looked it up. An order cannot be canceled, and I will forfeit 60% of my purchase money. And that is the end of it. So you want to know what? Hail return policies and buyer's remorse policies to let people like me immediately cop out of a purchase without fear. Real MVP.
Yeah, hail to your unreturnable purchase.